Hello and thank you for joining me. I'm Heather Forgan of stampwithnellie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in the UK. Today I want to show you how I made these money wallets for Christmas. I think it's quite cute to have no peeking till Christmas, because I'm guessing if you received something like this you would know that there was money inside. But you should leave it till Christmas to find out exactly how much. So I've used the Trimming the Town Designer Series paper pack for this, which during October 2020 is on sale with a 15% discount. So there are a few days left that you can pick up that as a bargain. And there will be a link to my online shop in the description bar below. There'll also be a link to my blog post with all the measurements for these gift wallets, money wallets as well. So I've made a couple of different versions. As you can see, this one's got a wavy line on it, and this has got a straight line there, but when you open it there's a wavy line inside, and that one is the same as that. I've used a retired ribbon on that before I realised it was a retired ribbon. So on this one I've used the polka dot tulle ribbon, which kind of makes me think of snowballs, so it seems Christmassy to me. This is the original one that I made, and I've actually used the Home Together dies for this. So that's the plain one that cuts the top part of that there, and I also used the trees to cut that part there, and then used this one again to trim the designer series paper so that it kind of goes in line with that. On these ones I decided not to bother with the trees and just to make it a little bit more simple by keeping the front of it straight, and I'm going to do that again today. And my main reason for not repeating that one is because I had too much of an angle on that one, and if you notice there's a little gap in there, so there's no point in saying no peek until Christmas when you can actually see. So it's a nice idea, and just didn't execute it quite right the first time that I tried, and I got it right the second time. You just really need to make sure that when you're cutting your card you do it at a shallow angle as possible, so not like that, but as almost straight across as you can, so that you do have a little bit of an overlap there. So those are the ones that I've already made, so we'll go ahead and make another one. And this time I am using the old olive cards. I've gone ahead and done some prep. So this is an A4 sheet, so I'm using the full width of the A4 sheet, but I'm just using 6 inches of that. So that's 8 1/4 inches by 6 inches. And I'm going to score that at 2 1/2 inches and at 5 3/4 inches. Okay. And that means that these two panels there are the same. I also want to make my belly band, so again this is another piece that is 8 1/4 inches wide, and I'm just taking 1 inch of that for my belly band. I've got my designer series paper already prepped, and these are 5 3/4 inches by 2 1/4 inches, and I've already stamped the sentiment, which comes from the Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set. Loads of different sentiments in there, perfect for all your Christmas needs. And I have used the no peeking till Christmas for this one. I think I've used every stamp in that one apart from Happy Holidays, so we don't tend to say Happy Holidays in the UK. And I cut those using the Tasteful Labels dies. There are two circular ones that have got this nice kind of lacy edge to them. So I stamped the sentiment with Misty Moonlight onto Whisper White, cut that with the smaller circle, and cut the larger one from Old Olive. So we need to do a little bit of die cutting again with this. So what I'm going to do is burnish those two score lines, and so this bit's going to fold up and my notes are going to tuck in there, and this bit's going to fold down. So I want to round these two corners here, and I'm using the Detailed Trio punch to do that. Simply slide it in, and there's kind of bumpers to stop it there and at the other side. Press it in the centre and it rounds the corner for you. Now I could also decorate the corners, but I want to keep it fairly simple because the designer series paper is kind of busy enough as it is. So I want to do the same with the bottom corners of my designer series paper. And that, just flip it around and do that. So they will line up nicely like that. So that's me finished with the Detailed Trio punch. So this is the bit that I am going to die cut. So the die has a cutting edge there, which kind of stands a little bit proud. So I want to have that at the top. And as I say, I don't want to cut too much of that bit away. I can bring it further down there though, and I think I'll do that. I'll do it at that angle there. Now I'm just using a piece of Post-it to keep that in place, but if you have the magnetic platform you wouldn't need to do that. So bringing in my cut and emboss, I've got the number 1, the number 2, I've got one number 3, and then I've got my card with the die, and I'm going to sandwich that with another number 3. Make sure that's all nice and tight. Oh, I forgot to put that side down. There we go, and you hear it clunk over the die. You know that you've cut through. I don't need to wind it all the way through to do that. I'm just going to pop it to the side just now because I will need to do it again with the designer series paper. Just taking that off gently so that it doesn't tear my card, although I'm going to cover most of it up anyway. So I'm lining up, so I've got my score line there. I'm just lining up where I would normally put that. Okay, now I don't need that bit. I can get rid of that. And I'm just making sure I've got my paper where I want it. And I'm going to bring that down. So I'm really just checking that I've got the same distance from the top to there and there. There are loads of other ways that you could do this that are probably a little bit more accurate, but I like quick and easy, and as long as you get the effect of them being cut the same, that's all good to me. Now where I can, I would normally put my die lengthwise so that you're getting an even pressure on the whole length of the die rather than having that clunk that we had with the first one, doing it across the way. See, it just gives you a better even pressure across your die, and it's not putting any strain and potentially warping your die. or your platform even. So there we go, I've got that, and it does have that line there. Now I obviously didn't have that quite close enough to the edge there, so I've got a tiny little bit of a bit that wasn't cut, so just trim that off. Using my multi-purpose glue, just add that piece on there. Perfect. Oops. And spin that around and put my glue on this bit. And just lining up my rounded corners on that. There we are. Oops. I had to change my trimmer blade earlier because it was cutting a little bit ragged. I can't remember the last time I had to change it, to be perfectly honest. It has been quite some time, and I've done a huge amount of crafting with it recently, so I've had my money's worth out of it. And just a little line of glue at the side. You don't want it to come in too far, so that you've got plenty of room to put your banknotes inside. Obviously, if you're not based in the UK and don't have the same size of banknotes as we do, you may well need to resize this to suit your needs. And I've just got some glue on there. I don't really want to stick the top down. Let's go rid of the tacky. So that is our envelope for cash. Just want to do a little bit of decoration to it, and I'm simply folding that round and creasing it. It's actually a little bit longer than I need it to be. I'm going to trim a bit off that. Like that. And you want this to be reasonably snug. So a little bit glue there and a little bit glue there. We'll make sure that both ends are adhered. Okay, a little bit of pressure. So our join is at the back and that slides quite nicely. I am going to just simply add this to the centre of that. There. And I'm going to use a little bit of tear and tape in the centre here. And that will help to keep my ribbon in place. Use the polka dot tulle again. Start that in the middle, as it's going to get covered up with the sentiment, and just wind it round. Don't want to stretch this ribbon too far because you will misshape it. Cut that off there. And I know I want to cover that bit there. Just a bit in the middle. And press that down in the centre like that. Just hold it for a moment. You just need to make sure you haven't got glue right at the edges there, because obviously you will stick it to the envelope. And my final touch is just to add some rhinestones. I'll put one up the top there and a nice big one and a smaller one down the bottom there. And there we have it, ready for me just to pop in some cash there, and I can write a message on there as well. Nice and easy. As I say, the only tricky bit is lining up that die to make sure that you've got an even edge around there. You could do the same on the top bit if you wanted to as well. So that's us got quite a few different versions. As I say, the links to all of the products that I've used will be in my blog post, and that blog post, there is a link to that in the description bar below. There's also a link, a direct link to my Stampin' Up shop if you'd like to stock up on that designer series paper while it's still on sale. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, bye.